All right, so there is there's like an attendance log coming around, so if you can just sign in like your name, your email address, just so that we can make sure we get a correct account of like who came, so that way I know who to send the recording to or anything like that. If you guys need that, or if you want to, oh, I fell asleep halfway through the meeting, I gotta get the rest of it. So, hopefully it's not that boring. I'm gonna try to get you guys out of here fairly quickly. I don't want to go much past 6. I know Jenny's got some commitments. I have stuff that I have to do. So, and you guys are all busy, so I don't want to keep you here for longer than I have to. Our trip that we have coming up in 2 years, so 2026 or just under 2 years, is we are planning on going to Eastern Europe, which includes Germany, Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary. Although I think Slovakia we're more traveling through, but still we get to see it and we get to see the cool mountains and things like that. So I'm not going to play this video only for the fact that sometimes it's weird. So this girl went on a trip in California. They went to Japan. They have like a travel club at their school. We don't. It's me and G and Boy, and we're like, hey, you guys should come on trips with us. So that's our club, really. But that just talks about her experience through that. And we have some people here, and we can talk about our trip that we had this summer. So we kind of have this even better because you guys know us. And so, yeah, I'm going to skip that. Okay, so what we have, we're going to go over our itinerary for what we have. You'll learn a little bit more about EF, what's included with everything, who EF is, how long they've been around, different things like that. The safety and support you can have on the trip, and the peace of mind just knowing that everything's covered except for CPAPs. I lost mine in Europe this summer, so that's why I joke about that.
Find one that says Jedi on it.
Yeah, if we happen to go through Athens, maybe. Otherwise, and then lastly, we'll get to the price, how to enroll, and because of the fact that so many of you signed up today, EF was really cool, and so any students that sign up, I think it's tonight or within a week here, there's a chance to get up to $300 off, in addition to whatever else you can get for signing up a little early, which is really cool. So I was really hoping we'd hit that 30, because she was like, normally on these meetings you're probably not going to get 30 because we've already had our initial meeting, and we hit 30. So students, you guys are lucky, you get a chance to save some money. So this is me, I'm Jason Birch. I teach here at NHS. This is my 9th year here. I teach social studies, world history is my main topic. And so part of these trips is so we can go and see some of this stuff. It's super cool. This is me and my family at an Ole Miss game. My oldest son Simon goes to Ole Miss, so we went down and saw a game last year. Yeah, that's their thing. Yeah, I forget what it means, but it's something, it's like nonsense almost, but it's, you can walk down the street and miss something, be like, howdy toddy, people be like, howdy toddy, and they say it right back to you, and it's all good. So part of the reason why I travel, these are some trips, or some pictures from this summer when we went. This is just, for me, I only read about this stuff. Growing up, you see the videos and different things like that, and now, like, with last year, or with this summer, actually going to these places and seeing it in person was such an amazing experience, and I think everyone that went on the trip would agree that it was really neat just to see this stuff live in person. You're walking in places that millions, if not hundreds of millions of people have walked throughout history. When you're going back, some of these buildings have been up for 4,000 years, going back to 2000 BC. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, these are just some of the pictures. This was really fun. We got to do a dance, Greek dance, right?
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
Yeah. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was very hot, but it was really fun. It was kind of cool to do everything, and it was an experience and a half, that's for sure. But this one up here, this is a Sphinx from Delphi in Greece, in Athens. This is the first Olympic stadium of the modern time. So this is 1904 Olympics when they restarted it back up, or 1904 I think it was. This was in the Roman Forum. This is I think that's the Pantheon right there. This is the Colosseum, and then that's the dance. So I like to do it just because it's fun. Wasn't super interested in traveling until my wife kind of was like, hey, we should do all this stuff. And I'm like, you plan it, I'll drive you. And it works. It works really well. She plans awesome stuff, and we get to do a lot of fun things. So educational travel, as far as the good stuff on that, again, it's new ways of learning. You get hands-on stuff. You get to be in places where you normally don't get that opportunity. We live in Nakusa. We're kind of right in the middle of the state. And unless you purposely plan trips like this, we've been a state for 100 and almost 200 years. That's it. Like, these places have been around for longer than we can even imagine sometimes. You get to do fun stuff. and I can't stress enough how good it was and just how awesome it was to just go to different places and have an experience and make that be an awesome lifetime memory. Also, well, it'll get there later. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. EF, they were awesome, to say the least. We had literally 0 issues. You were the lead trip on this one, so like I don't think we really had much that we had to deal with. It was really nice knowing they've got staff on the ground in all the countries that we go to, so like if there are places or if we do have an issue, they can hook us up with the people who are there. Our tour director was awesome. We would have went to her before we even would have called EF, because she works for them, and she was amazing and knew her stuff, and she was so cool to be around and just led us on a really, really great trip. But they've got, they're in the 365 days a year, 50 countries. They've got an office in Berlin, which is where we're flying into. And they're accredited just like our school, so you can actually earn high school and college credits through EF, which is really cool. Here's our trip. In a really brief nutshell, we fly into Berlin. For those of you that have never flown into Europe before, we will probably fly out around 5, 6 at night. We'll go overnight and we land, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning there, and then we just go. That's it. You don't go home and nap and sleep in the hotel. We are going to be going right to Berlin, and we're going to be walking and doing stuff and doing tours there. And as hectic as that first day sound, it actually sets you up really nicely, because when you get to the hotel that night, you sleep really, really well.
Yes,
And then you
you
get
do.
up and you're like, hey,
Yeah, you do.
it's just like it is at home. You get up and you're just ready to go. So yeah, we are in Berlin for 2 nights. We traveled to Dresden, and if I'm correct, I think most of this is going to be by train is my guess,
Yeah.
unless they say, hey, you have a bus. I'm not 100% sure on that quite yet. But it's Berlin couple nights. We go to drive through Dresden, do a tour there. After we stop, we go to Prague. We spend 2 nights there, do a couple of things there. Auschwitz and Birkenau for a day, and then Krakow for 2 nights. Again, travel through the mountains through here. This is Slovakia here. Hit Hungary, are in Budapest for 2 nights, and then we fly home. So it'll be a bang, 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 bang trip. Like we're gonna be doing something all the time, which is nice because there's not a lot of time to get bored or to like be like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like you're literally always going to your next thing for the most part. Which, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm not a huge fan of that, I think for what you get to do over here, it's worth it, and it's nice. You get to experience a lot of different stuff then. So again, walking tour. You get to see all the cool sites in Berlin, Topography of Terror Museum, which is World War II and different stuff like that. Walking tour in Dresden, Prague, the different stuff in Prague. The neat thing about all the places we're going to go is if our tour director, let's say, isn't an expert in all things Prague, we will get somebody who knows everything, and they will be the ones that take us out in our thing, and that's where the tour directors get a break, which is probably nice for them. And so we get to walk around and do all the stuff with the local tours, which is really sweet. We go to and you can see just the architecture here, obviously, and it's way different from where we were this summer too. It's different styles and different techniques, but it's still just as neat. Cathedral, guided tour of Krakow. Again, one day is Auschwitz and Birkenau, and then the Memorial Museum as well. Travel through the mountains, so you can kind of see here, we'll just be driving, a lot of good scenery and things like that. Budapest baths in Hungary. Again, another local expert in Budapest in Hungary. Visit the Matthias Church, some other stuff in and around Budapest, and then we fly home. And it works. It's busy. This trip is actually a day. Is it a day or 2 days longer?
2 days.
I think it's 2 days.
But
Again,
then-
you're
yeah.
traveling the first day and the last day, but it's still it's a little bit longer than our last trip, and so I think we're gonna get to see a lot more stuff, and it should be warm. It should be cooler. It's not gonna be 95 degrees, and so it'll be a little cooler. Okay, it'll be we won't sweat buckets. Okay. So some of the stuff we get to do, we get to learn more about the history of the Berlin Wall. There's not much of the Berlin Wall left, but there are small sections of it, and so we'll get to go see that. Dresden, I mean, again, how cool is this church right here? And that's just one building. You can kind of see it's very colorful. We get to walk all the way around through there, do some different tours, I'm sure, stopping and eating at some different places and things like that. Prague Castle, So again, here you can kind of see just what it looks like up close. I believe this one was built in, if I remember correctly, I think it was like the 1500s, so pretty old, especially by our standards. The astrological clock, I couldn't tell you anything about this other than it's an astrological clock, but it looks cool, so they'll probably tell us more about it when we get there. The 13th century Buda Castle on Castle Hill, that would be the 1200s for those of you that aren't super familiar with timelines. But so again, a church or this castle that's almost 1,000 years old. So again, cool stuff. Bobble Hill, archaeological evidence dates back to the 4th century, so you're talking 300 now. So getting expanded out there even further, and just seeing just how they built stuff and knowing that at one point this was probably the center of the city, and you know those walls were for defensive formations and different things like that. So for my world history brain, I'm like geeking out over this stuff. Slovakia, so this is where we'll travel through. There might be a stop, because I know when we traveled our long distances, when we traveled in Athens, we usually stopped about halfway through. So there might be a stop where we get to get out and take some scenery in person other than from a window. But again, so kind of seeing that stuff. Budapest, the Fisherman's Bastion, again, just the architecture, everything like that. The Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial Museum. Apparently we get to chill in some thermal baths, which is pretty cool if that's your thing. If it's not, then you can watch everyone else do it, and that's fine. It's hot. I don't know if you guys, 36 degrees Celsius is like, that's like 100 and something degrees, so those are hot baths right there. That's why they're called thermal, right? So you know that going into it right now. This will hopefully be the only place that's hot on this trip, okay? Food. You guys. Okay? Like, yeah, this is, I mean, you all know what these are. Like, you can eat these in the country where they originated from. Come on, what better is eating a pierogi in Krakow, you know what I mean? Like going to these places and eating a bratwurst in Germany or anything like that. So all this stuff, you get to try everything and anything that they have available, and you'll probably love it. If you don't, why are you here? No, I'm just kidding.
Are you really on vacation?
Yeah, if you're not going to go somewhere to eat, like, the reason we spend all that money is to go eat food. Like, that's why we do it. So for those of you who, this is our window, okay? We set this up a little bit. So August 3rd, 2026, you will be back before any fall sports start. So if you play fall sports in Nakusa, you don't have to worry about missing anything. When we got back this summer, fall sports had already been going on for a week, and so anyone who was on the trip they missed time. We purposefully set this up so that we could be back before football starts, before cross country starts, before soccer starts. So that way or volleyball as well. So anyone who's on this is the latest we would get back. Our window essentially is about the 22nd through the 31st, but there's a 3-day push on either side of that, okay? We'll know about a couple months ahead of time. What was it?
They say 2 to 3 months. First of all, if we get a certain number of people, which I think was about 30 to 32, and we did, we were then guaranteed our requested dates. So we knew, I want to say October,
Okay.
I was told you got your requested dates, it's confirmed. I would say if we don't get that many people, they say 2 to 3 months before tour, but I would guess probably
A little bit further
closer
up.
to the end of the, like December, January.
Okay.
They try really hard to get us our requested dates. It just depends on the size of our group. And if our group is not large enough, they will try to put us together with another school, is what they're trying to do. So, let's just hope we get another big group again.
You guys signed up. We got our own group again. So
yeah, so I know that's frustrating. I mean, for people, like, you have to be able to request your vacation time. We know that. The minute they tell us, we will let you know.
Yeah, and if you were on this year's trip, I mean, Miss G was really good about, as soon as she got information out, you guys knew about it. Roger, go ahead.
So what's our target number for the next trip group?
As many as can come,
we
really.
can, but I would say that we're hoping for 30 people.
Yeah. 30 to 50, I think, is a good number. So, yeah.
I don't know if anybody's aware of it, but right now there is tremendous flooding happening in Poland area. Budapest is underwater. And if it stays like that, they said it takes at least a year or two to maybe come back. What would be the back plan?
My guess is I 100%, I couldn't tell you right now.
Yeah, but I mean, is that something you could talk to them and say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give you a general idea, so what would happen, like, even if anything happens, like, some type of disaster, you know, they would, more than likely say it's just one location, like Budapest, they would come up with an alternative place for us to go in the region, so that they didn't have to cancel or change the entire trip. If for some reason something happened and we could not go to that location, they would find us a comparable alternative location to
Okay.
where we're going. So it could be Scotland, Ireland, it could be, I mean, they have things in play for that. I asked pretty much point blank if they ever had to cancel completely. They claim they've always been able to go to a different destination. I mean, for me, I mean personally, I wanna hear 100% guarantee, but they've been doing this for a really long time, so I think they have those connections to make quick changes happen like that, but they would provide an alternative, a comparable alternative. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna be going to Toronto, okay? You know, so yes, they, because I mean, realistically, like the Ukraine right now, I mean, this is Eastern Europe, it's not terribly far away. So they take trips to Israel, they go to Jordan, I mean, they are prepared in the very last minute to change our destination if need be.
We're not doing it, but one of the options was we could have added on an excursion, I don't know if it's excursion, but could have gone to Vienna as well. My guess is that if that was still Budapest was unflooded, we can't go there. I'm wondering if they would just, you know what I mean, since that's already an option anyway, they'd just say, hey, we're gonna cut out Budapest, we're gonna do Vienna instead. I mean, it's not really that much different there, so.
And that's one of the nice things about Europe is it's close. I mean, you know, we think of that as like, oh wow, that's a completely, but it's not far.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they have a lot of options in Europe particularly versus other places that they go.
So, so as far as, it'd be great if we could get 30 to 50 people, just because it makes it a private tour. It's all our one school, our own people. We don't have to, not that it's bad to get to know other people or anything like that, but it just, there's more familiarity with that. Again, what's included on everything, round trip, we had, I don't believe, did we have to, I'm just trying to remember, carry-on luggage, you had to pay for that on the way there, but not on the way back, right? Or not the carry-on,
Oh, a check.
the check bag, yeah.
We didn't have to pay
I don't think we had to pay at all.
We didn't have to pay for it at all.
So they do say that is your responsibility, but again, we got lucky, so we didn't have to, so,
So you get a carry-on,
yeah.
like a, standard size carry-on and a personal item. But some airlines will charge for like if you wanna take a larger suitcase as well. We just happen to have like American and I can't remember, Lufthansa, they didn't
Lufthansa, yeah.
charge. But if they were to charge and you wanted to check a bag, you may have to pay a baggage fee.
Yeah, so that's not included in there, and that'll be addressed in a later slide, but I just wanted to throw it out there. The hotel stays, it's good hotels. We picked this trip particularly because of the fact that this was rated the highest out of all these other kind of like Eastern Europe trips that they had, or the ones that we were kind of debating over. And the hotels we stayed at this summer were pretty decent, with the exception of the one that my kid broke the end table on because he fell out of the bed.
And that was a nice hotel.
It was a nice hotel.
Your kid just,
My kid's a
brand
yeah.
new hotel.
Yeah, I broke the hotel and we had to pay for it.
nice
So
one.
yeah, it was just a nightstand. Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but yeah, the meals were good. There was a few meals where it was like it would have been nice to have a little bit more of a variety, but the food we did eat was decent. Like I'm not gonna say it was crappy. I'm not gonna say it was like phenomenal either. We had one restaurant in Athens that was really good. But otherwise, it was good food. It was the food that you would eat when you're there. And we had, when we were out for lunch, they were like, meet here in an hour, you can go wherever you want to go. And so I was like, oh, okay. People were like, hey, I had gelato, I had this, I had that. We're like, oh, where was that one? Like, we didn't even realize that, and so that was really cool. They're, again, a tour director. They're with us. They stay at the hotel with us. They answer any and every single question that will come up. And Ava, our tour guide this summer, was phenomenal. You can talk to the kids. You can talk to the other adults that were here, the other chaperones that were on the trip. she was incredible.
I want to say one thing she did that I thought was cool, because I thought she went really above and beyond on a lot, but we had a couple kids who were like
that's right.
desperate to see the basketball court that Giannis played
Yes.
on when he grew up there. And it was like nowhere near where we were gonna be, and she was like, nope, I will call a taxi, I will coordinate this, I will help them. The taxi will wait there to bring them back, but for those kids, that was like awesome. And I just was like, holy cow, I did not expect her to do that, and she was so awesome about like, what does your group wanna do? Cause I told her before we went, I said, I have a lot of kids that asked if they're gonna get to go to the beach, I don't know if that's possible. She's like, we will make that happen. And she did, and I just was like, holy cow, like, they
Yeah.
weren't kidding, like, she was there 24/7, never left us, and did all these extra things that
Yeah,
I
we had
just
2
didn't
kids.
expect.
Yeah.
Learned all our names.
She
Yeah.
knew all of our
Everybody,
names.
including the kids, in
Yeah.
less than a week.
It was like, wow.
It was
it's-
amazing.
And we had 2 kids that had birthdays, and she
She's
bought
here.
them presents.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah, she
really
was
cool,
just
and they were like,
awesome.
she was like finding out like one of the kids, Connor, like he's a soccer guy, he likes Italia or whatever, and she was talking to him about what kind of soccer teams, because they were having a conversation. She went out and got him a hat for like that soccer team, and so it was really cool.
She was
Yeah, so that
she
was neat.
great. I was impressed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
so she spoke Greek and Italian,
Yep,
but
and
she's-
English.
and English,
Yep.
and then I think she mentioned she spoke some Spanish, and yeah, they definitely are, because
Yeah.
that was one of the things I'm like, can they speak the language for sure? Yes, and because most of them they're local, they live there, so yeah, she was great.
The transportation, we did have the bus, decent, good bus. It was and the drivers, phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, they were good.
oh man, like those, I would trust them to drive me anywhere, because I wouldn't trust myself to drive in those countries. And they were like in and out, like they were awesome. The guides were amazing. The ones that we had, pretty good. They knew their stuff. They talked about the history of the different places, gave us cool fun facts about all the places we went to. So they were really good. The sightseeing, again, I mean, as long as you weren't staring on your phone or sleeping on the bus, like the views that we had were amazing. A lot of the pictures that were posted on Facebook on our the Nakusa page, a lot of those were from our buses, like just snapshots from the buses, and like that was just 2 countries we went to. Here we're gonna be going all 5, 6 different ones, which is really cool. And then all of the entrances to the landmarks, the attractions, every place that we're gonna go to that would require a ticket for us to buy, that's all covered in what you're gonna pay. All right, so it's all included. It's really really awesome. Things you're responsible for: passports. If you're planning on going, like if you get out of here and you're like, I'm gonna go, get your passport right now. Just go do it if you don't have it, because passports are tricky. And if you wait until the last minute, there's a chance you might not get to go, and that's on you.
Yeah, don't wait.
Yeah. Just if you're planning on going, go do it and get it done. And they're good for 10 years. So when we do our next trip after this, you'll be set to go and you can come on the next one. It'll be great.
However, make sure it's good for at least 6 months upon your return, because apparently that can be an issue.
Okay.
If it's not good, like if it expires within 6 months of our trip, you need to get it renewed before we go. Apparently can be a big problem in the EU. So.
Okay. Baggage fees, again, we talked about that. There may or may not be ready for that if you're planning on bringing, an extra bag for souvenirs, right? Because some people did that. Some people literally brought an empty suitcase with them, and then it was like almost overweight when they got home. Like, but it worked, and they didn't have to pay the fee, so it was fine. They figured it out. The tips for the guides, the bus drivers, your tour director, all that stuff we will collect beforehand. What did they say about? Was it?
Well, I'm not sure how much it'll be this time,
Yeah,
but
'cause it's a
so
little bit
what I
different.
did the last time, because we left in August, so January 1st, I sent out a thing letting people know, because I thought it's tax time, whatever. So just in your mind right now, about $100 per person for tips. I don't know, because they will give us that exact number as we get closer, and I'll know it before I let you know, like, hey, this is what I need you to pay. But I will tell you, it made things 1,000% smoother to just have the money already. I had it counted out, ready to go to the people. That way the kids, especially who were there without a parent or an adult, didn't have to worry about remembering to hold on to extra money or whatever. So it really made things a lot easier. We'll know that amount. I mean, I knew probably in about November or December prior to leaving. And that's just once they determine how many local guides we'll have, how many different bus drivers, things like that.
So, snacks, some meals, some of that stuff's included. like I said, when we had our days out, which I'm assuming if we're doing a lot of these walking tours, it'll probably be, we're gonna do a thing, you're gonna get to eat, and then you're gonna probably do another walking tour, and then go back and have dinner at some place that they pick out for us. And usually the dinners were what's included. Your stuff during the day were the ones where that was what you were responsible for. And obviously any souvenirs that you want to buy too, they're not giving you an allowance. Like, hey, come on our trip, here's $100, go buy some souvenirs. I might mention that to them, hey, you'll get more people if you do that. But so that's something that you'll have to kind of be aware of. And then we took a coach bus down there, which, yes, it's added a little bit on. However, when we got back at 11, 12, something like that, wasn't it? Or
We flew in about 8, but we didn't get out of the airport till
yeah, it took a little bit to get out.
We didn't get home till like 1:30.
When we drive out of Chicago at that late at night after you've been on a plane for 9 hours, that was awesome. I didn't have to drive until I got to Nakusa. That was beautiful.
And we stopped at Quick Trip.
Yeah,
So.
that was the first thing. We were like, where's the nearest Quick Trip? That's where we're gonna stop. Everyone was like, yeah!
So that was this time, just know that was about $85. I was like shocked at how much a coach bus cost. But I mean, we had about 47 people. It was almost full. And I get several quotes, so I do try to find us the cheapest option, but just depending on the number of people and that want to take
Gas
it,
prices,
whatnot.
I'm sure, and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's so, I mean, I would just estimate about $100, probably, hopefully less, but that's if we generally fill it up.
And
So,
that's
it
an
was worth
option
it.
that you can, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have
can,
to.
you're like, I'll just meet you in Chicago, I'll park my car there. Feel free, like that, you can
Yeah.
do that, you don't have to take the bus. It's just something that was, honestly, was super nice. Like,
If
it was
we were gonna
great.
come home, from the
Yeah,
airport.
and you're not sitting by your luggage, it's all stored underneath the bus, so like, you had a seat, you could just rest on the way home, it was kinda cool. So, part of the reasons why I partner with EF, and I've been talking about them as we go, I just think it's such an amazing opportunity for not only you guys, but for the students especially, because of the things that they're gonna get to experience. Because unless they specifically say, I'm gonna go do this, they're probably not going to. And this is a way for them to get this experience now. And for some students, they might say, this was really cool, I'm gonna go do this when I get older, I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna do that. And some kids might go, that was really fun, but I'm good with it, but I'm glad I did it, you know? Like, they might not necessarily like the travel, but they'll like the stuff when we're there, and they'll have that memory, and they'll be able to say, I went there. You know, somebody's talking about in the future, oh, hey, yeah, I was there. Like, it was so neat when I saw this thing and whatever. Honestly, with how easy it was, this last trip, like, with just everything, I don't know why I would go with anyone else, in all honesty. So yeah, that's part of the reason for me. Again, super safe. For those of you that went on the trip, at any point, did you ever feel unsafe in any of the places we were? Even when we were out and about in the cities and things like that, it was great. Like, we just kind of did our thing. And, some of that is, don't engage with local people who are trying to, like, sell you roses and, whatever. But, like, it's there, and part of it's common sense. But, again, even if there is any issues, they've got local support, they've got a response team. Everything, health standards were pretty good. Again, the director is with you for the entire duration of the trip. All the chaperones were there. It's not like we go and do something else while everyone else was at the hotel. Like, everyone was at the same place at the same time.
Let's be real, it's too hot to go anywhere.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Time
It
we
was.
got back, we're like, no.
It was like, we're here and I'm not going anywhere. But no, it was really good. And so, yeah, I can't stress how nice it was to feel, honestly, like you were in a trip in the U.S., really, where you just knew what was going on and you're like, okay, this is decent. We have talked to our admin. Any high school students that go on the trip can get a half credit of social studies, all right? And with the social studies being outside of English, social studies is the next highest credit. You need 3.5 credits, which is essentially 3.5 years worth of social studies classes. This negates a semester for you, which can open up. Now you want to do something advanced in art or in metals, or just take a different class altogether. You don't have to take another social studies class. You can open up your schedule, you can take something different, and it's really nice for you that way. Again, there are college credits you can take that's related to the thing you did, and 3 college credits. And I think there's a little bit of cost to that, but it's probably at a much prorated rate than it would be if you were doing it at your institution. And then there's an essay too, where if you want to do a personal essay on how travel has impacted you because you've got to go on these trips, they will help you with that. We haven't had anyone ask for it, but we've only done 2 trips in the past year. But yeah, it's a great way to, if there's a college admission that maybe one of the things is about, hey, tell me about a time you traveled and how did it change your life. This is a great way to do it. And then they'll help you with that and guide you through that and things like that. So a lot of cool stuff here. And in all honesty, what better way to earn school credits than by actually going to the place and immersing yourself within it for a week to 10 days. Yeah, it's hard to think of anything else. Some of the stuff that EF does do, like with this, by traveling and doing that, you get a growth mindset. You can embrace new challenges, super fun. Global perspective is always a good thing. You see things that you don't see here. It's different, you know. And those experiences they're good, and they help you grow and kind of just look more outside of little old Nakusa, Wisconsin.
I think one of the cool things that Eva, our tour director, talked to the kids about was giving it some global perspective. She explained to us how poor Greece actually is as a country. So we think it looks like this very beautiful, amazing vacation destination, which it is. But she explained to the kids, like, people here make less than $600 a month, and they live with their parents, and they're in their 30s and 40s because of the economic crash they had. What was it, 10 years ago?
2009.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm old, I guess. But I think for the kids to, because they were like, wow, you know, like the cars here are really tiny and there's really not a lot, and like they were putting those things together to understand like how different cultures and different countries are. I mean, gas there's $12 a gallon, so nobody drives.
Some kids,
You know,
a new appreciation of
yeah,
the
I mean, they
life
really, kids were just like, I said, yeah, so that little Ford Festiva over there doesn't look so bad now, does it? Because, I mean, gas is going to cost you so much. So it was a beautiful country. It was an amazing thing to see, but I think they just realized the opportunities and the limitations and just what it's like to truly be somewhere else. I think for a lot of them, it was pretty eye-opening, honestly. And that's they're about the education piece, right? So that was really important to Eva, that she's like telling them, she's like, I love my country, but you know, it's hard to live here. This is why, and it was really important to her, I think, to impress that information, and so it was very educational.
And it was
There's a lot of
interesting
things,
for her to compare to Italy, us, and
Yeah.
Greece on how like welcoming tourism is and like why it's so important to their culture. So like when we're going places, yes, we're going to look like Americans because we're a group of 50 people,
They know
but they
we
don't
are.
care. They know that we're here for a purpose and they have a respect for us, and like if we respect their country, obviously. But that was a big
Greek
thing for
people were
her.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
they were.
Greece, it was great.
And then again, you know, just by learning some of this stuff and understanding that, you know, maybe in different places people do have it differently than we do here, it might help inspire them or at least give them an idea of things that they could do to help change that or to, you know, affect that, or maybe, hey, you know, I want to help these people out when I get older. Or I want to do something that's going to be able to help people out back home, back in Wisconsin or in the United States or wherever. And so by doing that, they just get that idea of, hey, here's some of the stuff that you have to do when you go to a different country. You know, you can't just go in there and be like, where's my Diet Coke, man? Let's go. You know, like there are protocols and different things that you have to follow in order to, you know, have that happen. And so this is a great way to kind of see what that is and what that's like. So again, our support partner, EF does a really good job of communicating. I've been in contact with them like a bunch of times the last week or two just in preparing for this. Heck, I had 2 questions today and they emailed me within half hour after I emailed them. Got those answered right away, so that way we can make this good for you guys. Traveler support team, again, anybody that has questions on as you're paying, as you're getting ready to go, this number right here, if you have a phone or if you have a pen and you want to write this down, if you end up going, this is the number to call. So when you have payment questions, when you have issues with, hey, I see my thing got debited extra or whatever, they're the ones who can go to. Dietary needs, if you're gluten-free and we're going to, you know, a place that's going to have a lot of gluten, you need to tell them ahead of time and they'll get that all worked out for you and figure it out. Again, tour directors, they're bilingual, trilingual, quadlingual, any other kind of lingual probably. They will be able to not only work with us, talk to the locals, be able to get information on different things, and they were awesome. And then the logistics and just getting us acclimated to the different places we're going to go. And then me, I'm here. Miss G is one of our other main chaperones, and we're here for you guys. So any questions that you have, throughout the time that we're signed up and you're gonna go on the trip, you get to us. If we don't know the answer, we'll reach out to EF. They'll get back to us, we'll be able to get back to you. Or again, you can always go here too, and then you can cut out the middleman, which I'm okay with that, like it's fine. But I'm more than happy to work for you guys to get you the answers you need in case you're not happy with them and you want us to deal with that, and we will do that for you.
And the tour director, I mean, I just really wanna make this super clear, cause it was like the only reason I would consider doing this. Anything that happens, I mean, any emergency that arises, you know, whatever it is, they're on it and they take care of it. So we aren't scrambling to think, how are we gonna get these 20 kids out of this country right now and get home? They are literally there 24/7, because I did call them on, I mean, minor things, but I mean, they took care of it like that. And that's the main reason for me that I would do this again, because they were so supportive, but they're ready for those kinds of situations, so it's just a good thing, I think, especially if you're sending your child and you're not going to go. The chaperones were all right there, but EF really is prepared to handle things.
Anything that pops up again, I lost my CPAP. Ava took me to the police at the airport, and she helped me fill out the police report for a stolen CPAP, and like, it didn't matter. I'm getting a new one. Don't worry about it. But she was still there the whole time. She was like, "Oh, do I need to call this?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So she was calling the people that we needed to call, because obviously I'm going to be like, English, please. You know, I won't be able to understand them. She was able to hop on the phone right away, get all the information. She's like, "Okay, here's where we need to go." We went there. It was awesome.
Probably longer than any standard kid room.
Probably,
No,
right?
never found it. It's gone. So if you're gonna take something and you label it with your actual name and all that, don't
Yeah.
just put your nickname on it, like Jedi.
Who would do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Live and learn, guys.
Yeah, we learned a good lesson.
So the cool thing, again, like Mrs. Wilcox brought up and Jenny was talking about, like, there's flexibility to change our trip, especially when things go wrong, when floods happen, when crazy stuff happens throughout the world. And for everyone, there's travel protection, so coverage for any baggage, property, trip cancellation, interruption, anything like that, you're covered for that. There's a Global Travel Plus, so anything else that you want covered, they will do that. But the other thing is that up to 24 hours before you leave, you can cancel the trip. And you will get your money back, I think, outside of your initial deposit
The
that you have
travel
to pay.
insurance.
That's it, like,
We
you can
had
pay this,
several
it's
people
extra,
that
yes,
did
it is
that.
extra, but if you're like, oh shoot, I know, like, maybe you have a parent or a grandparent or something and they're sick right now, but, you know, maybe they're okay, but who knows, in a year, something maybe worse could happen, you're able to say, I'm not gonna be able to make it, as much as I really, really wanna go, I can't, and if you've got this one, you'll get refunded, and so you have that.
We had 3 people who within about 2 weeks of the trip had to drop. They all had the additional travel protection plus. They said they called, they were on the phone less than 10 minutes, and then they got their money back within like a couple weeks. It was really fast and painless. So it's something to definitely consider. Included in the price is basic travel insurance. So like they said, for baggage, and you can cancel, and there's like dates. I can't remember specifically what they were, but if you canceled a certain amount of time in advance, you got most of your money back, but obviously as it gets closer, it's less. But with the additional travel protection, it's up to 24 hours. And they said literally, they're like, do not wait until 23 and a half, because you will have problems, but they're like, if it's 26 hours before your trip, you're gonna call and you're gonna cancel and get your money back. So, it was definitely, several people needed it, so.
And then tonight too, if you do decide, hey, I really want to do this, seems like what I want to do, you can enroll tonight, and then for whatever reason, you have 2 weeks after you enroll. So not even from tonight, it's, let's say 3 days from now, you're like, I want to do it, I'm going to bite the bullet, and you do it, and you enroll, and then you're just like, you know what, I shouldn't have done that, whatever. You have 2 weeks from the day you enroll to cancel, and you will get a full refund of the 100% of the money that you paid, including that deposit. So if you put in, I think it's like $95 you put down to kind of reserve your spot for it, within 2 weeks, if you say, no, I don't want to go, you'll get that back. Okay, so that's the shorter one, but it gives you time to kind of just sit and mull about it and think it over, and then if you're like, I don't want to, you can do that, although you're going to want to, so I don't know why anyone would do that, but anyway. Yes. Again, there's some scholarships that are available to students too. EF has a bunch of scholarships they give away every year. Some are needs, some are merit-based. Anybody who's enrolled to travel can apply for those. Each individual person on the trip, I don't think it's not even limited to students, but it's everyone. Anyone who enrolls on the trip gets EF sets up a fundraising page for you. So it's like kind of like a GoFundMe, except it's just for you and just for your trip. So if you sign up, and we do very limited fundraising here for the trip for the students, just because there's a lot that goes into that. We're trying to get a little bit easier now for some of the students with some of the concession stands, and we're doing some different things with that. But overall, we don't do candy bar sales or pizza sales or anything like that. EF offers this page for you, so basically you go, you set it up, and you could just be like, you could throw it on your socials and just be like, hey, I want to go to a trip. Help send me there, you know. Or, you know, Christmas time, birthday, whatever, like, I don't know what to get you. Hey, donate some money to my trip. You can go right to here. It'll go right into their account. It's painless, and all of it goes directly toward your balance. It's not they don't take a 2% fee. 100% of whatever gets going in goes into that. So there's no fee that gets taken off for them. All that stuff goes right into it. Again, everything we've talked about, the logistics, the itinerary, this is all the stuff, the payments. They have flexible payment options. I mean, heck, if you have the money right now, you can go ahead and be like, boom, I'm going, 100%, you're there. If you are like, I can do the deposit right now, but honestly I can't pay until another year, I have to wait till my taxes come in or whatever, that's fine, there's an option for that. If you want to go, hey, I can pay right now, I can pay every month. They take it out of your bank account once a month. You can go every 2 weeks if you want to, which cuts it down a little bit. And it's just one thing that you don't even have to think about. It just kind of comes out and you're like, oh. And then by the time the trip rolls around, there's no, I need to come up with $1,000 or I can't go. It's been coming out this whole time, so it's paid. Once you're ready for the trip, you don't even have to think about it because it's already done and it's already paid for. Again, the safety, the traveler account, the support team, their incident response team, and then all the stuff that you can get as a student and things like that, all included with this. Again, the flexible payment options, bi-weekly, so it would be $90 if you enrolled within our little week or two enrollment period here. If you want to go monthly, it's $180. And again, that includes that enrollment fee. If you put more down, this number will come down. Okay, so if you put, you know, 500 down, obviously it's not going to be 180. It's going to be a little bit less than that. In full, all right. So this is without any discounts or anything like that for students, and students count for anyone who is 19 at the time of the trip. So in 2026, if you're 19, you will still count as a student, even if you already graduated. You still count as a student, which is pretty cool. For adults, it's $47.79 for that. However, if you sign up within the next, I think it's like 10 days after today. There's a date on here, I just don't know right off the top of my head.
27.
There's 27th it is? Okay. So there's a $100 discount on top of that, so it takes it down $100, and so that would, I think, go down a smidge more than
86 bi-weekly.
86, okay. So a little bit cheaper, like $4 cheaper for that. Again, adults, students. The cool thing is that the reason why we try to get these out so far ahead is that you have 2 years to plan for it, or just under 2 years now, and it makes it so much easier to not think about I have to come up with how much in a year. You've got 2 years to do this. All right. So when you think about that, when you think about it that way, you know what you spend, or even students, guys, if you have jobs, like think of what you buy, you know, throughout the year that could easily add up to $180 a month, you know, and it's probably stuff we don't even think about. Again, oh, it's on here, that's why. Gotcha, there we go. Again, manual payment options, you can pay in larger, less frequent installments, just costs a little bit extra to do that. The manual payments are not valid for the risk-free enrollment, so if you say I want to, you know, let's say you're going to do the manual payments but you cancel within 2 weeks, you won't get the money back from that, so just so you're aware on that. So again, we have limited spots. We're at roughly, like we said, we'd like to keep it 30 to 50. We probably have room, like if everyone signed up, like that's here tonight, like that would probably put us at where we want to be, and which is a great number, and I'd be happy with that. So limited in the sense that we don't wanna push it over really too much over 50, because what happened was this last trip, we had great turnout right away, and a lot of people were like, yes, we're gonna do it. We had, how much?
68.
Yeah, we initially started with 68. These
Don't
were all
even
people
remind
that
me.
signed up too. It wasn't just like,
Yeah.
I'm interested. These were all people
They
that
roll.
paid the deposit and things like that. But the problem was is that along the way they canceled out and different things like that, and so it changed some of the pricing on the coach bus and some of the other things as well. So by trying to keep it smaller, we know that if everyone's good and everyone's gonna go, all those prices should stay the same. So the coach bus price that we end up quoting you later on won't change because 8 people decide they don't wanna take the bus, or you know what I mean, anything like that, or they drop out at the last minute. Now, last minute drops, we understand that, but, again, a $100 discount, it's a $95 enrollment fee just for tonight. You get that $100 discount by doing so. So it's essentially, yes, you do have to pay the $95, but you're actually kind of getting it back really, cause you know, you'll still, like I said, you'll have to pay it, but it does come off your final total. Again, so you get the risk-free enrollment, the $100 with the early enrollment discount. Students, if you sign up tonight, if you happen to get in here tonight, you can save an extra $300. So, like Autumn, let's say you're the only student that signs up from here. Guess what? You just got an extra $300 off your trip. Not Autumn, sorry, Peyton. My bad.
I was like,
That's crazy.
I was like, I looked at you, you're looking at me funny.
It's
I'm
like
like,
I
I
thought I
didn't
knew
know I
her.
said that wrong. My bad. So if you're the only one that signs up tonight, Peyton, you would get that $300 off. Like, okay, well, you guys want to get that?
And EF
Ava's
does
like, Mom, give me a
EF does it like a drawing, right?
Yeah, it's like a.
We don't have any,
Yeah, we don't do it. EF basically what they'll do is they'll look at the kids who signed up. They'll put their names like on these spots, and then they sent me a little graphic the last time. Well, if you're the only one, you would get it. Don't do it. We're not gonna just do one for you. But they would put everyone's name on here, and then they would just spin it, and then wherever it ends up, that's the student that gets the $300 on. So. And so if you want to enroll, this is, you can snap that and that'll take you right to our enrollment page, right? Do you guys, any questions before, cause it's
please.
almost 6:50, so, or sorry, 5:50. Wanna be able to, if you have questions, we can answer them for the next 10-15 minutes or so, but again, I value your time, so I wanna make sure that you guys, get out of here on a time when it's good for you. Roger?
So flyover, the majority of the travel is on the bus. You quite a bit of walking possibly.
yeah.
Tour around. No other part of the travel includes train at all.
I don't know if the.
we're not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the in-between countries is train or if it's buses.
Okay.
So that's the one thing that I don't know. It did have a
It's-
bus on there.
It is such a small area that
Yeah.
I was, personally, I'm I just love seeing things, so if it's a train, I'm fine with that, but I think from what they described, it's usually bus.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, which would give us a chance to probably talk them into stopping
At
too
least we don't
somewhere.
have to fly in between, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
And
Any other questions?
the reason that they keep bringing up like the payment for the check bag and people bringing check bags, there is a stronger chance when you travel that you're going to lose a bag. Going to other countries, my husband is 6'6" and wears size like 14 shoes, so if he were to lose anything on the way over, there's no place over there to get it. So EF, when Miss G and I went to our trip in Spain, they're like strongly encouraged to go with travel bag or like a carry-on for a majority of your stuff. So that's why they keep bringing up like if you do check a bag, it's going to be a fee potentially, and you know.
We were really
Safety.
lucky, other than the CPAP,
Yeah.
we had a direct flight to Rome, which helped with that because it's the connections that typically where you lose luggage. We did have some people that brought check bags, we didn't have an issue really. I think one of them even brought like an empty one, just to fill stuff with on the way home, so if something happened, but yeah, it's, until if you haven't been, I mean, when you get to Europe and wherever you land, you can't just wander into a Walmart or a Costco or something like that to just buy all the essentials and clothes and things you need. Like here, you can definitely probably get away with that most of the time, but you definitely wanna make sure you take a carry-on with the majority of what you're going to need. If you are gonna take a check bag, just make sure you have your essentials in the carry-on. I forgot to mention, Jason kinda mentioned it too, so tip money, about $100, we'll know when it gets closer. Bus money to Chicago, cause we're still flying out of Chicago this time again, right? Those we are now able at least to fundraise through working concession stands, so we just worked one this last week. What happens is, if a student signs up, they get paid $20 or $30. There's a flat rate that they make, I'm gonna say $30. And then we get a portion of the profits that night, so a percentage of it. So if a student did wanna raise that money, we can, because that money, well, we have to pay for the bus obviously here, but this has to go in cash with us to Europe. And because we're a school district and there's a lot of laws about money, I have to take care of this in an account that's not in the school district. So that's just why it's kind of complicated, but that's why you can't raise money towards the cost of your trip, because I would have to have the district pay that, and that's not possible. But the tips and the bus money, you could fundraise. I would keep track of how much that student was paid that night, and then their percentage of the sales, to help at least offset that cost. So it's not a large amount, but, you know, when that bill comes around, trust me, it was kind of like, oh man, I gotta pay the tips and the bus. Yes.
Go ahead.
So could you fundraise outside of school and then put that towards the trip?
So like, that's why you would get that fundraising page, or like, the fundraising page is like a GoFundMe, so someone could go on there and they can pay you money. But say like grandpa and grandma were like, we wanna give you $500 for the trip, and we aren't really cool with using that page on the computer, they can write a check straight to EF, and EF will take it like that too. Yeah.
And
then
if
I
you
don't know,
have
how do
stuff
you-
like,
How do you do your candy bar thing? Do you just go buy those candy bars and sell them yourself? or
yeah,
what?
yeah.
So I guess.
Well,
you do
they're from our church, they're for
Oh,
Caleb, so
okay,
yeah.
never
but, yeah.
I did the candy bars
Okay.
last year for my student that went.
Sure.
What you do is, all you have to do is you get a hold of Sorority and you tell them what you're looking for. You send them a thing, your EF thing showing the dates of your tour
Oh, okay.
and
Then that'll
stuff,
help you do
and
that.
they sign you up for fundraising, and they explain it all to you, and you go, you'll put your order in like on Monday, and Friday the candy bars will be there, you have to go, because it costs $25 a box
Yeah. they're
to
expensive.
send them to you. But you have to go to my Green Bay and pick them up, but I paid for $800 of her trip.
And the reason we don't do a fundraiser formally beyond the concession stands is just honestly, we're a school district that is extremely fundraised everywhere. I mean, if you have a student that's involved in anything, they're
Yeah.
selling a paper maker card, candy bars, you know, and we just genuinely went with EF for many reasons, but one of them was that fundraising page, because I'm gonna be honest, if you came to me and said, will you give me money for my trip, will you buy this? I'm like, no, take this $100, I do not need another pizza, you know,
Yeah.
that's just me personally. And that's one of the reasons we picked that, because there are other companies that do the fundraising page, but I think a lot of them charge like a small, like a fee, and I was like, well, that's not, come on,
Yeah.
like, that's silly. So that's why we picked it. I was just like, and honestly, I don't know if I could come up with a fundraiser that's not being done,
Yeah.
because you have to find one that's not being done.
So students, you guys heard that? Miss
That's
G
why.
said she would donate $100 to you.
Yeah.
So for your students, I mean, everyone needs to be thrifty, right? So there's different ways that you can go out and try and generate fundraising for yourself. You know, around your neighborhood, cutting lawns, you know, helping whoever. If you tell them that I'm going on an educational trip for Coosa High School, that may be a means where you could make some money. I mean, if you make $100, $200 or more, that all helps.
And they might give you a little more knowing that it's going towards something like this, as opposed to, I wanna go buy whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, I mean, for the kids, I just wanna say, like, I was so nervous about the last trip because I'm like, I've never done this before, and it's a lot of responsibility. So for 2 years, I had anxiety over it. But getting to see the kids, and there were many adults as well, but the kids so excited and just like in awe that they had the chance to see these things. I mean, like, when we went to Pompeii,
Yeah.
it was just like, I mean, it was the coolest thing in the world for me. That's the best part. So I want as many kids to be able to go as possible, and I know it's expensive. And so we're trying to come up with more ways to help with that cost other than just the concession stands. But I just, like I said, I just couldn't come up with a good fundraiser that wasn't already being done. 'Cause there's so many.
What about sleeping arrangements? It's just me,
Oh,
and
Yeah, so EF takes care of, you probably have a little more experience with that, because you
So
dealt with that.
sleeping arrangements, so this is something that I learned from the last trip, so I'm glad you brought that up. So first of all, if you're an adult, you're going by yourself, you will get paired with another adult, same gender, and we have some control over that, like we can say, hey, please put these two people together. You can also do a single room, it is an upgraded cost if you wanted to do that. I'm not 100% sure what it is per night offhand. So you have that option, but they will not put more than 2 adults in a room. If you are going with one child, say it's a mother-daughter, and you want to be with only that child, the only way to 100% guarantee that to happen, that you will not have another, say, female student put in that room, would be to pay an upgraded cost that goes under the student, so it's not as expensive as the adult. Now, there were people on our last trip that ended up like mother-daughter, but it worked out math-wise, that's why they didn't have to pay a cost, because if they don't have someone to put in there, there's nothing they can do about it. But if you want to guarantee it's only you and your child, that is how it has to be done. You can roll the dice and see if it works out, if you don't want to pay. Otherwise, I had an adult with their daughter and another female student stayed. We had 2 parents and their child stayed, that's fine, that's not an upgrade. 2 children, 1 adult, I believe we had, that is not an upgrade. But if you are mother, daughter, dad, son, and you only want it to be you 2, then it is an upgraded cost, to guarantee it. Students though, can be anywhere between 2 to 4 to a room, it depends on the hotel we're at. So I know we had, when the incident happened at the broken thing in the hotel room, I think it was we had four boys, in a room. Twin beds, I think, Jarrett, what was your room like though? Did you guys have twin
That was
beds?
the room.
Yeah,
Well,
it was a very
that
big
was the
room.
Yeah, did you guys have twin beds?
Yeah.
Or was it like 2 double beds or?
We had 4 twin beds.
Okay. Or they'll do like 4 boys, 4 girls, and it just depends on the math. It could end up, we had someone end up with a single room, and she thought that was just amazing, and I was like, huh, I didn't even get that, but it just happened to work out with the math and with people dropping. If there's any questions about the rooming, just please ask me, because to me now it's just old knowledge, so I'm just trying to think. But the rooms were, I was impressed. I'll be honest, I have been to some of the places in Europe that you're just like, don't ever go back there. And so our hotels, to me, were amazing. They were clean. You had your own bathroom, because I've been to plenty where here's your dorm showers, and like the first one was pretty new, had just been built a few years prior, so it was very nice. The second one was much older, but I still felt, it was very clean. But it was older because everything in Europe is generally old, so.
We'll have toilet seats, right?
Yeah. We learned how in Greece they don't shower, they take baths apparently, and even then they just wash their hair with a wand typically and go a while without even taking a bath. So we all learned that because everyone had a different setup in their bathroom. So it's something that you kind of have to be ready to roll with it too on a certain level. If there's something majorly wrong, and it's me or Mr. Birch that are gonna go to EF and be like, hey, this is not gonna work, like, you need to fix this. And I think if something would have happened, they definitely would have handled it, but they were pretty good. And these are places that they've been to before, and they took our feedback extremely seriously about whether or not we would recommend groups ever go again, things like that. So these are places they have vetted. But the accommodations, some of them were pretty tight, but.
And kind of do your own research, because
Yeah.
unless you've been there, like G said, you don't really know what you're gonna get into, because we're super used to having the air conditioning down at 60 degrees and be fine. In Greece, they don't even, like, our tour guide didn't turn on her air conditioning at all, so she didn't care that the AC didn't blow as much in the other room, so she switched her room with somebody. But so do your research a little bit ahead of time, because in the communication, it states, like, we're gonna tell you everything that you need to know, but do your own research too if you're not 100% sure. Because I think that could have saved a few people too.
Yeah, so as far as the rooming accommodations goes, as it gets closer, we reach out and we ask like, hey, you're a family of for? How do you want us to room you, things like that. If you are alone, you know, we'll match you up with someone definitely appropriate to have, to share a room with. And honestly, if the math just works out, you may very well end up with a, single room, but there's no guarantee for that.
What is the deadline now for?
So in order to 100% guarantee the price that we quoted you guys tonight, you have that, there's that 27th, right? So 9-day window essentially to guarantee that, because they can guarantee them for so long, but pretty much after a couple of months, you know, prices start to go up. So that price will slowly increase over the next, 2 years really. It might be every month, it might be every couple of months, it just kind of depends over there.
Last year, the last trip, it went like several months without ever
Yeah.
changing, and then it might went up like $100. But by the time the actual trip came, if someone wanted to sign up within 3 months of the trip, like for an adult, they were probably paying another $900
Yeah.
or so to add at that time.
We had a meeting at the end of the
Yeah.
last year, the last school year, and it was $100 cheaper than what it was right now. So you look from essentially, was that in May or was that in April? So May, so June, July, August, so 3 months, it went up $100, So if you wanna look at it that way, there's, not saying that you 100% have to sign up now, this is your best price right now.
Right.
But just know that if you sign up later, there will probably be.
And if you
so.
if you do enroll, it's locked in. There's no
Yep.
like they're not gonna come back and be like, well, gas is really expensive now, so the flight's gonna be more, whatever. It's locked in. So whatever costs incur, they're for EF to handle after that.
When do you stop paying this?
I think if you did the automatic, it was like June or something.
I think
There
it
was a
was,
45
yeah, it was like
window.
June or July, it depended on,
Yeah.
I wanna say that we were done, I think, the month,
Yeah.
I think it was the month before.
If
we
you
left.
were making manual payments, I wanna say the cutoff to make manual payments was like April 15th, maybe that's tax day. It was somewhere in April maybe. But or you had to switch to an automatic payment plan, and then you could make payments. I think it went through almost July.
I
It
know
was really
mine
close to the
For
end.
Autumn myself, the last payment was we went in August, July.
July,
Yeah,
okay.
It was like that
Yeah.
last week of August, or
But
whatever
it was super simple and like,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, once you get it
literally
set
had
up.
zero concern about whether, paying for it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay,
it's
so
just automatic.
I now have 3 and it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
so.
And just for a cost comparison too, this trip compared to this past summer one, the summer one for the kids, for students, I think was like 4,300. So this is almost like, I mean, if we go off our original price that we had last year, at 3,800, so almost $500 cheaper than the one we just went on, and we're going for like 2 longer days here. We get 2 extra days added into that, so.
Yeah, Eastern Europe.
Can you add on extra payments too? So like if you do a monthly payment, can you just like, what do you
Yeah.
wanna just
I think-
pay
Like, if you wanna pay-
$500-600?
Yeah, you can do that.
I think you'd have to do
You
the
might have to
manual
call
though,
them.
yeah, you might
Yeah.
have to, and it might be a little bit extra to do that, but I think you can.
Yeah,
Or
I
throw
think,
it in the fundraiser then?
yeah.
Yeah, that might be a
There you
better way
go.
to do it,
Good
yeah.
idea. Now, I
actually.
think too, if you call them and you're on the automatic payment plan, they don't charge you any extra fees to do like a lump add-on, but yeah, you could also just go through that fundraising thing, that's good. Yeah, they're actually, I mean, they encourage of course, they want people on the automatic one, so if you do make manual payments, I think they charge a small,
I think it's like $50 extra to do
for
that.
like a time, yeah, like, I don't know, I didn't know too many people that did the large
Yeah.
payments, so.
Any other questions? Cool.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Comment, we were luckily able to go on the last trip, it was outstanding. As she referenced, watch the students, see all the sites, the way they work together, everyone had a great time. Appreciate the opportunity and looking into this trip. I recommend it to the group here if you can try and make the arrangements and go on it. I think it's an outstanding opportunity and very safe and it's well arranged.
Thank you. I think, I mean, it went, I got off the plane from Chicago and like waiting for the bus to come, and I thought, okay, now we just gotta make it home, but I thought, oh my God, like it went so much better than I just expected something to happen, or, and it really didn't. It was super smooth, it was so fun. I mean, it was hot, as we've mentioned, but I mean, everybody, I think, came away from it happy with the experience, and like I said, for the kid, it's most important for us to see the kids get the chance, right? Cause if we wanted to do this, we could go and do it, but, you know, to see kids like go somewhere they've never seen and have that chance, I think is just cool.
What do you think?
Yeah.
American money is fine, we don't have to. Currency.
Well, I can tell you in Greece and Italy, they very much liked if they could take American money from you. So like all our tips, we paid in American money, cause I was like, how am I gonna do that? They used the euro, so they did encourage us to have euros as well, but they would take American dollars, especially in Greece. Now, I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, we haven't put a whole lot yet.
Yeah, we can find that out from the tour director though. We had a lot of people decide to exchange some money before we went, which was a good idea only because, well, you can be reluctant about using an ATM for sure there, but when we got to the airport, it was kind of bam, 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 and we really didn't have time for people to do that. So like I personally, BMO Harris won't charge you to exchange it, and they won't charge you to return it.
As long as you're a person there, you
Yeah,
have
as
an
long
account
as
there.
as long as you are a member, so which my brother is, so if anyone needs that done.
I think
I made him do it several
Associated Bank's
times.
like $8
Associated
something,
Bank
yeah.
charged you like $8 to exchange
Yeah,
one.
it's
I mean,
minimal amount,
It
and
wasn't bad,
they would give you, you could get the euros within like 3 days.
yeah.
You
Did they
just
take
go
them back too, like when you came home, could you
Yeah,
exchange
and then
it?
they buy back just the dollar, just the
Yeah.
dollars,
okay.
not the change, so
It's like
Oh,
paper
okay.
money.
always use up your change,
Use up your change,
use up your change, but,
yeah.
we took 500 euros and we had plenty, you know, plenty for that.
I mean, like I said, I went to BMO Harris to exchange it because I was more worried about kids that wouldn't have money and they needed to eat, so I'm like, well, I better have some, and it was super easy. I mean, I was just shocked because I thought it was gonna be a process, but definitely way better than going to any of those exchange places in the airport and all that, so definitely, and we'll send out information about that as it comes along. We've learned a lot from the last trip that we know now to kind of communicate on, so.
And a lot of places took credit cards.
Yeah, so if you
Don't
have
use
a-
your debit card, but your credit cards were accepted most
Yeah.
places that we went.
Yeah, just
Now,
double,
we had debit card, but
Okay.
Associated Bank is international.
Yeah, that's nice.
So that, if your bank is international like Associated Bank, you don't get all the extra fees, you just get the exchange rate fee, which was like literally like 2% or something.
Yeah.
So it was very minimal and.
yeah, so if you do have cards, just make sure that you can use them overseas, and most of them are, if you just have a regular credit card, you're probably fine, but
Yeah.
always double check just to make sure.
It might sound stupid, but is all of the countries that you're going to all euros?
Yeah, it's all euros, yeah, they're all in the EU, so, yep. Which is kinda nice though, because you can, you know, if you just take a bunch before you go, you don't have to worry about getting different monies in different countries, it's just all euro, so.
That's not, I've
Yeah.
never been there, so I don't know.
Yeah, yep,
Cell phone coverage is really hard, so
yeah,
check into your cell phone carrier before you
Yeah.
go. I know a lot of people, they go with this, what do you call it, eSIM
decent,
card.
yeah,
It's depending on your carrier, if you can do it, so you need to talk to your carrier. I know, US Cellular is very, very expensive, so we just went out without cell phone coverage for that week. But everybody else, you know, they can get this eSIM card if they allow you to do it, and you can buy small packages like so many gigabytes for like $7, which was plenty and more than enough for what you would need to text and talk to.
yeah. And if you're on Wi-Fi, obviously you can use your phone then, you know, but again, when you're out and about,
Verizon was
it's not
really
bad.
good.
Yeah, it's like
It was
$10.
$10 a
It was
day.
like $10 a day per line,
yeah.
and you could have, and I think for where we would go for this trip, they would have coverage for the entire thing, so it would just be $10 regardless of where you are.
It's just shockingly so much easier to travel now than it was even 15 years ago. I'm like, you didn't have to get a track phone, you didn't have to pay for minutes, you know, don't turn your phone on while in Europe, my God, you know, it's just crazy to me how easy it's become, I guess.
So, yeah, if you guys, I mean, if you have to leave, feel free, my email, it's just jason_birch@nakusa. If you are on Parent Square, if you're in the district here, you can get a hold of us that way. You can always message the office, they can get a hold of us, same thing with Miss G, or Mrs. Boy even, she can direct questions to us too. Or if you're in here, feel free to stop in. I coach middle school football, I'm pretty much here most of the evenings, you know, after school for a little bit when I'm not coaching, so we're always around, we're always available for you guys, so, yeah. Otherwise, thanks for coming,
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
If anybody wants any more candy, come grab it.